It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to Up and Adam. This has been a crazy week, but I'm so happy it's Monday. And because Sundays are usually my favorite shows, whether it's Real Housewives of Atlanta or also 90 Day Fiance, which is what we're here to recap. I love coming on here with you guys. I can't wait for you guys to join me and call in and for us to go over these kind of SHIT shows of couples. Guys, if you haven't already, though, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love. Let's get some more eyes in the room. I'm going to drop the link here in a few minutes. That way you guys can join me because I don't want to just sit here and talk to myself. I want to hear your opinions. That's one of my favorite parts of doing these live recaps. It's actually the only reason I usually do the live recaps is because I want you guys to call in and join me. So Shannon Van should eventually be making that how to use a StreamYard link video. I hope she does. But if she doesn't, I'll walk you through it. In the meantime, I say let's get started on these couples, right? I don't even know where to start. So let's start actually with one of my favorite couples, Brandon and Julia. Brandon and Julia are from Dinwiddie, Virginia, and this is an interesting dynamic. He's obviously a mama's boy, a farmer's son, and a little bit of a pushover, but he seems like he's finally drawn his line in the sand. Seems like when you dangle that little carrot that Julia is dangling right in front of his face, whether or however you want to interpret that, he's sticking up to his family. He's letting them know on an outing out to dinner, just the fact that, hey, listen, Julia can't do this anymore. And as her man, I'm going to stick up for her and say, we're moving out. They're like, wait, what do you mean you're moving out? You're not moving out. He's like, no, actually I am. The dad's like, don't be stupid, Brandon. You're not moving anywhere. Think about the money that you need to spend. Think about your responsibilities, your priorities. And he's like, I have. It's either I stay here with you guys and she leaves me or I move out with her. The mom starts getting super emotional and almost like it seems like she's gaslighting him a little bit. Or maybe I just don't even know what that term means. You guys can correct me in the comments below. But it seems like she's gaslighting him a little bit, saying, Brandon, this whole time I just wanted to gain a daughter. I never wanted to lose a son. Okay, girl. He's got to move out eventually. You got to cut that umbilical cord and let your son go. It seems like they're trying to have some sort of compromise, though, because as of right now, in this moment of the show, Julia's done. Julia's expecting him to go have the tough conversation with his parents and decide, hey, you know, what do you want to do? Do you want to be with me or do you want to stay here with your controlling parents? Okay. He said, well, maybe to his parents, maybe we can find some sort of compromise. Maybe I can save up some more money for the wedding and we can just kind of ease up on some of the boundaries. It doesn't seem like his dad's so happy about that. And his dad kind of lives in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, wherever he's like, you're the man, be the man. And it's like, no, he's now with a Russian woman. She's kind of more of the dominant man than he is, especially you raised a pushover. That's your fault, man. But it seems like Brandon's asking, you know, hey, can we at least ease up on these restrictions and maybe I can stay in the same room with Julia. The dad's totally against it, but the mom is starting to hear him out and understand, okay, if that means that I'm not going to lose you, then even though we don't want to, sure, we will go ahead and ease up on some of the restrictions. The dad's like, Betty, she's like, no, it's okay. So that's exactly what they do. Brandon ends up taking Julia out to go play pool and have this conversation with her, and she's shocked. But she's proceeding with caution. She obviously understands that the parents were so strict in the beginning that, wait a minute, what do you mean? How all of a sudden are they just going to ease up like this? And the second question that comes to mind would be the first question that would come to my mind. Now are your parents going to hate me because you gave them an ultimatum? She doesn't see how his mom can go from 0 to 150 and back down to 0 in a matter of moments and just say, okay, fine, it's okay. You don't have to feed the animals. You don't have to work and you can sleep in the same bedroom. What? That's literally all the restrictions that she had that she hated. How did one dinner fix that? Now Julie is skeptical, wondering, if that's the case, is your mom going to walk through the house and have some sort of animosity towards me? Is there going to be some weird tension? Which obviously we all know, yes, there's going to be weird tension because they think that you gave their son an ultimatum and they probably hate you now. And if they don't hate you, because that's a strong word, they're probably going to do their best to figure out how to get rid of you and send you right back on a plane to Russia. In the meantime, though, she's going to proceed with caution. And she did say to Brandon, for a short time. She wants to move on and just do it for a short time, not for a long time. I do want to talk about another kooky couple, though. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. Show some love. I'm going to bring them up really quick just because I find them to be strange. Mike and Natalie. Okay, so Mike and Natalie are a little bit strange in the fact that this couple has nothing going for them. They don't like each other. She likes him, but she likes him because she's like pushing 40 at this point, I think. She's 35. I mean, she wants a family. She wants to get married. She wants to be in love. Right. She wants all of the things that a lot of people want. However, it seems like she picked the wrong guy. She picked a guy who's very much okay with living in the woods and doing what he does, being more minimalist in the way that he lives. He's here and will always be here, as she likes to tell him, what class he's in. And he's content with that. He's a working man that would be just fine with a steak and a beer. He doesn't need all of the finer things in life. However, Natalie she doesn't have that same idea for her future. She has a lot bigger plans and she wants him to get on board. She's tried to change his diet. She's tried to change the way that he interacts with her. She's tried to change his physical appearance. She's tried to change a lot. His religion, I mean, so on and so forth, right? When they're sitting there talking, though, in this episode, he's telling her, well, she's telling him technically, my mom loves you. She always takes your side. My family wants to know, when is the wedding? Now, she was saying that when Mike's mom was in town, that Mike's mom did an awesome job at swaying him, getting him to set a date and really getting the ball moving. That way they can move forward and have the wedding that she's planning on. As soon as mama goes, though, that's when all the wedding plans went too. At this point, Mike seems like he's totally not interested, and Natalie keeps talking one thing that Mike doesn't like to talk about, and that's figures, finances, money, the stuff that it takes to make all of this happen, right? So when Mike's sitting there talking to Natalie about this, and Natalie's going on about a wedding dress and where to get married and how many people, she's like, what is our budget? And he said $27.50. He didn't mean $2,750. He meant legit $27.50. Everybody gets half a Coke. Let's move on. He was not really into talking about the finances of it because I don't think they really have a lot of finances, which is not a big issue. Like his mom said, why don't you have a beautiful ceremony right here in the yard? A lot of people do that. Honestly, I know a lot of friends who had parents who got married in their yards, and it's not the end of the world. You could have a big party with all your closest loved ones, spend the money on flying her mom in from the Ukraine, and make it something special. For her, however, she wants something totally different. She wants the wedding dress. She doesn't want to get married in a courthouse. She wants a nice, beautiful ceremony with good food that she's going to be able to remember for the rest of her life. Now, I know that most of the time they say that's a woman's dream to have this big, lavish wedding, and men don't really care about this. And that's not necessarily always true. But in this instance, it seems like that's definitely true. I don't know if they're going to really be able to figure out a good, happy medium in this situation. But what I do know is they're trying. Mike takes her on a hike and she says, I love to go outdoors. I love to go be outside and do sports. And for me, hiking is a sport. As soon as he starts asking her why she's making or wearing the makeup to go on this sport, she starts to get a little bit offended. I think that there's a language barrier here. There's something that's not technically jiving, and it's the way that they communicate. Because he wasn't really saying anything bad. He was just asking her, why would you put on makeup to go on a hike? And she's taking it like, oh, now you disapprove, and she's kind of taking it as an insult. When they did go hiking, though, I did find it to be super interesting, the fact that she ran straight to the biggest tree that she could, wrapped her arms around it, started hugging it, smelling it because it makes her energy calm, makes her happy. And he's even looking around like, what the? But he's not used to that. He's not used to his new tree-hugging fiance. And that's obviously another one of the things that he's going to have to get used to. Even though I kind of find it ironic, the fact that she's afraid of the very same woods that surround her new house, her humble abode, but she's hugging the woods that are on a hike. Which one is it, Natalie? Pick a lane, girl. That's why. You're a little bit all over the place, and we got to get you back on track. Talking about getting back on track, I want to move on from this couple. I'm actually going to drop a link for you guys now since we've covered 2 of the couples. And then if you guys would like, more than welcome to call in. In the meantime, hit that like button, show some love, and let's move on to the next couple. Let me make sure that went through for you guys. Did it go through? Yes, it did. Okay. All right, guys, go ahead, hit that call-in link, the StreamYard link. I just put it in the chat. You're more than welcome to call in and join me. And if you don't want to, that's totally okay too. I'm going to move on to the next couple, Yara and Jovi. Yara and Jovi are another interesting dynamic. Jovi seems like he doesn't necessarily always have the most patience, and neither does Yara. Yara pops off over everything. But Jovi just got back in town after working for 4 weeks, and he's somewhat happy to see his fiance. He arrives in New Orleans, and he was drinking when he got off the plane. That immediately annoyed her because she feels like her fiance is an alcoholic. But what he was trying to explain is, listen, when I'm working for 4 weeks, I can't have any alcohol. When I get to relax on a plane, yeah, if I want to drink, I want to drink. What's it to you? And for her, she's like, Jovi, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and trying to tell him exactly how to live his life. From taking his shoes off when he first enters, to putting white rugs on the ground, to not having alcohol at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, that's kind of fair. They end up going and walking through New Orleans, and he's pointing out fun little knickknacks. So I was going to call them tic-tacs, tidbits, whatever, pointing them out and saying, oh, this is cool. This is New Orleans. And how do you like this? And she made a statement that kind of reminded me of how I felt about living in New York. She said, Jovi, we live in New Orleans. Why do we need to have New Orleans stuff all over our house? It doesn't make sense. We already live here. And I used to have a lot of friends in New York who would have like big just big buildings. Like it's just everything. Statue of Liberty, Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know. Photos of all of that stuff all over the place. Empire State Building. And it was like, what are you doing? You live in New York. But I get what she's saying, and I get where she's going with that. They end up sitting down, and she said that she wants to try henna. This poor woman who's sitting in between her and Jovi had no clue what was coming. When she's sitting there getting this henna done, and she's like, how do you like it? And he's like, oh, that's cool. She said, I have something to tell you. She looks at him and whispers, I'm pregnant. And he's like, what? No, you're not. Absolutely 100% is not buying the fact that she could be pregnant. Really? He's like, how? How would you be? You just got here. Doesn't this seem like a little rushed? How the are you pregnant? And she's like, I am. He's like, I think you're lying. And his face just looks like, I'm not dealing with this. Don't be stupid. Get out of my face. I don't believe you. This is dumb. If you're playing a joke on me, this is really dumb. He's not budging at all. But she's like, okay, that's how you want to be. If this is going to be your reaction, fine. When we get home, I'll take a test and I'll show you. And that's exactly what she ends up doing. As soon as he sees the test and he sees that it wasn't just 1.5 lines, it was 2 lines, he lit up a little bit. They both look concerned. They both look like they're not ready to be parents, but it seems like, okay, there's something going on here, and maybe they can make this work. Now, what the rumor was, and unless I'm wrong, somebody can totally just correct me, but what the rumor is that they had this baby in September, that it was a beautiful little baby girl, and that she went back to the Ukraine. Whether or not she went back just because maybe Jovi's working and she went back to see, I don't know, maybe her family, so she wasn't alone with the baby, or if she actually just went back to the Ukraine because her and Jovi aren't co-parenting well. We're not sure. I'm sure we're going to see how that plays out, because Discovery Plus is really being invasive in all of these 90 Day Fiance cast members' lives now at this point, but also I'm sure they're not complaining because they all draw a paycheck from it. So it's paying the bills. Let us see your life. Let us see what's happening. I'm going to bring up a caller really quick. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. Hi, Changing Cupcake.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Cool. Yeah, I just finished watching.
Hey. What were your thoughts?
So, first of all, Who did you start with? I'm trying to think. Which
Brandon and
couple?
Julia.
Oh, Brandon and Julia. Okay. Those parents are just too much.
Cuckoo.
Cuckoo, out of their freaking minds. It doesn't make sense. She totally brought on the waterworks and just gave in, and that was obvious.
Yeah.
That was obviously going to happen.
Right. I mean,
You know?
they have no business living with the parents anymore at this point, regardless, because they're obviously way too controlling. And I'm not sure. Are you a mom?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mine's 10 though. So
boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay. When your son becomes 18, say he moves in, he falls in love with this woman from Russia, wants to move her in the house and start this whole K-1 visa process, what would your reaction be?
At 18?
Okay, let's say he's 25.
Okay. At 25, I mean, I guess I would give it, some thought, depending on how long they knew each other, visit each other, something like that, I'd give it a shot, and I don't think I would be about like, no, you can't sleep in the same room. You're already engaged.
Okay, so you'd let them sleep in the same room. Do you feel like what Julie is asking for is fair? I mean, or do you feel like it's just, I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
I think it's fair. I mean, she's from the city. She's not used to that type of, environment. And she tried. She really did. And it didn't work. And I agree with her. If it was like that, when I was engaged to my husband, I would have said, I can't deal this anymore. We got to go.
Yeah, no, if
I'm
I met
glad
my
she took the
fiance and
compromise.
he was telling me to shovel after pigs, I'd be like, huh, that's cute. Bye.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on really quick. Before I'm going to keep you on to talk about these last two couples, and then I'll drop you down to move on to the next couples, and then bring you back if you'd like. But I'm curious what you think about Mike and Natalie.
Mike and Natalie. I know I hear rumors that they got married, but damn, if he doesn't show that he is completely out of it, I don't know what does.
He seems like he's completely detached and removed from the situation. That
like he wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that he's not there. And a lot of people are speculating, saying that she might be pregnant at this point because she's been posting photos and they think that she looks like she's gained a little bit of weight, which this is one of the things that I hate about social media is because we all fluctuate in weight a little bit, right? We go up and down. And if she's not pregnant, imagine being that poor girl who's getting all of this feedback saying, oh, you're pregnant. She's like, no, it was COVID and I sat at home. What do you mean? Leave me alone.
Exactly.
But okay, let's wish them best. Now, last couple, Yara and Jovi.
Oh God, I really watched specifically this episode with them because the last time I spoke to you, you were kind of on Jovi's side, and I'm like, I think he's kind of a, don't want to say it, but I watched carefully, and you can see her being a little bit, a little snooty here and there, but I think it's just a Russian look. Like I think him with the way he treats her and making her take that test twice, and I don't believe you. And then the upcoming scenes, I won't say that yet, might ruin the end for you, but that looks like ridiculous. I just think even my husband is like, that guy is like a douche. Like,
no, and just to be fair, watching it, I feel like it's almost like when you start off a new relationship and you have butterflies, right? Everybody's excited. And then you get this way of communicating where she's kind of a little like, Jovi, you're so stupid. You don't know anything. And then you can only tell him that so much. And then finally he's like, you're stupid. What do you know? And then you get into this toxic kind of cycle back and forth of just treating each other with a total lack of respect. And that becomes your new norm. That's how you're navigating your relationship. And it seems like that's where we're at with Yara and Jovi at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of going both ways. And of course, editing comes in. We don't know who started and said what first exactly. So, who knows? But from my point of view, he's still looking like a jerk.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And, I had Max, this Celeb Talk guy on at one point, and he was letting me know how, you know, behind the scenes, producers make them sit there and have the same conversations over and over again until they get them right. And that pushes, well, one, Jovi's drinking, so that's going to push him to be annoyed. And two, there's a little bit of a language barrier for her, so she doesn't necessarily always understand why they're making them address these conversations over and over again. And she's probably getting hot-headed too, because she's like, this is annoying. And that would push couples to fight.
Yep. Definitely.
Okay.
Those two are too much.
They're too much. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. I appreciate you joining me, and I'm going to move on to Stephanie and Ryan.
All right, cool. It's always good to talk to you, Adam.
All right. Thanks for joining me.
No problem.
All right. All right, guys, if you haven't already, again, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love, and let's move on to Stephanie and Ryan. Stephanie's 52 and her fiance is 27. This is never going to work, but hey, who am I to judge? He is straight out of Belize. Well, technically, he's straight in Belize. Stephanie finally made it in to visit, and what I don't understand is this is not 90 Day Fiance the other way. This isn't the right show or platform. Almost like Colty and Debbie shouldn't be on 90 Day Fiance. They should be on I'm in Love with the Mama's Boy. This is not the right show for them, okay? Stephanie and Ryan do not deserve to be on this show only because this seems so contrived at this point. The storylines seem off. Everything seems out of whack, and we're not buying into it at all. I think we're buying more into Hazel and Tarik, and Hazel playing Tarik for a fiddle that he is, than we are actually Stephanie and Ryan, which is sad because nobody's buying into their situation. When it comes to Stephanie and Ryan, though, Stephanie is obviously this fortunate cougar, financially fortunate, who has her businesses, but there's something missing there. She's a little insecure in the sense that she's willing to take all of this mental abuse. I think that's okay to say. I'm not sure. I don't want to totally dissect it, but she's willing to deal with the situation and find it to be norm. I would never find this to be a normal situation. A lot of TLC super fans are annoyed and calling out the fact that Stephanie dropped a big bomb in Ryan's lap. She said that she ended up sleeping with his cousin, and he said, I know. You know? What do you mean you know? And he's like, I already knew about this. And she started crying, and she's like, why did you know? If you knew, none of us are buying that. We know that you guys already had this conversation. You guys brought this to production. When you brought it to production, they said, okay, you need to have the conversation again, and then we're going to refilm the conversation. Neither one of those reactions were organic because I don't know anybody who you would go sleep with their cousin after you got into a fight with them, and then they would be okay with it. Unless he just knows this is what it is. This is a relationship where he gets nice watches, gets little slides, gets a nice headpieces and shirts, and that's it. He just has to sleep with her from time to time and hopes to get to America. However, I feel like there would be a big problem with that. You wouldn't just go and sleep with my cousin after fighting with me and think that you're not going to get a door slammed on you. And I don't mean just like with you on the other side of it. I'm just going to like put you in the door and start slamming it, you know? You would get a crazy reaction. That's not how life works. People react. This reaction, no bueno. It wasn't good. Nobody's buying it. Again, that's what they're saying on Frauded by TLC. So many other different fan pages, and even Max the Celeb Talk Guy. That's usually, well, he's usually my go-to for TLC because I love all things Bravo. But, you know, when I talk to him or Wet Sock or a few other people, they're really good about getting the behind the scenes from production and people who have been around the casting. So, again, this is just really unfortunate. Not buying into this storyline, and I can't wait to see when this doesn't work out, even though I'm not putting that bad energy out there for them. This just seems so fake. And honestly, I can't wait to see when this doesn't work out, only because I want to see this poor woman be with somebody who can support her, not her supporting somebody who's old enough to be her son, you know, or she's old enough to be his mom. Well, you get what I'm saying. I want to move on because this couple really annoys me, but it's not like I'm moving on to a couple that doesn't annoy me. Guys, at this point, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, but we're going to talk about Andrew and Amira. Andrew is a fool. I always say I don't come on here and get opinionated. These couples, maybe that's why I can't do TLC. because these couples make you want to have an opinion. Andrew is just low down, man. This guy goes to Puerto Vallarta, and I'm not being harsh. Puerto Vallarta, he comes up with this cockamamie plan that he finds on Facebook, in a Facebook group. And I talked to Andrea about this, and Andrea even said that the rules change in Mexico. I believe she said monthly. Actually, let me just bring Andrea up while I talk about this. Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
Hi.
Adam.
How are you?
I'm good. How are things?
Okay, so really quick, I want to bring you on for this because this is just beyond me. And I know that you even said, like, this guy needs to get out of your country because he's a nut job. But he goes on and he's sitting there and he's like, hey, baby, how are you? How are you feeling? Oh, yeah, I'm enjoying this beautiful vitamin D. And we know that the beaches in Mexico are beautiful. I've been to Mexico. You obviously live in Mexico. I think Mexico is stunning. But it's like you're throwing it in her face.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be a part of this trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're the reason that she sat in a detention center. You probably gave her PTSD to some extent. You are sitting there throwing in her face that you're still enjoying your vacation. And now you're trying to, while enjoying your vacation, get her to go to another country and try this again when he hasn't been through any of the hell or high water.
Hurdles, yeah.
This is crazy.
It's so ridiculous. It can't be real. I refuse to believe that this is real because he is, as you said, he's enjoying his vacation. He doesn't care if Amira was detained or anything. And just like FYI, on what you said on the guidelines, they change every 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
So how on earth did Andrew think that he could trust a freaking Facebook post when every 2 weeks the committees evaluate the state of the number of cases that we have versus the number of recoveries, and that's how they determine where we are standing in each state and nationally. So for me, it's like, oh Lord, Andrew, just shut up and go back to your country.
I mean, I'm out of curiosity. Do you think that he found Serbia as another way to try this out on another Facebook chat room? Like, do you think he's going to do this again?
Totally. And it's very easy to talk out of the privilege of not having to go through going to the detention center and all that, like sitting your bum in a couch in Mexico. Like, he's not going to do anything. The one that has to go out and travel to Serbia is Amira, which I don't know if the fact that she was denied entry to Mexico will affect, it will leave something in her passport.
Right.
Because like immigration officers all around the world check for that.
Right.
So who knows if this issue will bring Amira like problems long term. Or if they even try the Serbia path, will they encounter the same problem where she won't be able to even enter Serbia and get shipped back to France?
And it's at this point, we also have to realize too, it's like, well, she needs to realize, Amira, every single man in her life, whether it's her friend Xavier or her dad, people are telling her this guy is no good for you. And honestly, the guy, like we found out afterwards, there was somebody who revealed that production was trying to get him to go to Mexico City to go see what was going on. And he didn't want to leave his resort. This guy saw this whole filming opportunity as a vacation. And then he's looking at this beautiful woman. I think Amira is stunning. He's looking at this.
Pretty.
Yeah. And looking at her, he knows that in the States, he's not going to find a woman like this. And not to say that it's impossible, but with the way that he portrays himself, the way that he acts, the way that he lives his life, most likely he's not going to find somebody as in love and stunningly beautiful. And I don't think he'll find a United States Amira. I just don't.
No.
I think Amira wants to get to the United States, and she has this kind of dream of being in love and traveling abroad. And I think she has that kind of fairy tale storybook syndrome where, girls grow up and they want somebody, and not just girls, guys grow up too, and you think you're going to be with this partner and kind of be swept off, and guys usually don't feel like the women are going to sweep them off. I don't know. I'm not straight. I didn't have that dream. But my point is that, I feel like she had this idea of what her life would look like, and just kind of like Natalie and Mike, as you get older, it seems like you feel maybe that there's this kind of like time crunch in order to achieve that. And I feel like that's what Amira is going through right now.
Yeah, I think Amira is very idealistic in her way of seeing things. And all about Andrew, in my opinion, screams red flag. Like, this man is a man who is willing to put you through whatever hurdle because he wants you to do all the heavy lifting, and he's not doing anything.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody just said in here that in the chat that they want him, or that Amira would want to. Oh, here it is. Yes, Amira just wants like to be in the USA and live the Cinderella story. I don't think anything bad about Amira. Honestly, I don't. I don't have one thing bad to say about her. I feel like she's been through HELL. I feel like it's just been a complete crap show for her. So I really don't have anything negative to say. But I feel like this guy who's sitting back enjoying his vacation, who had the most ignorant conversation with her dad when he's complimenting his shirt and tie or whatever, and not really talking about what's actually going on. The fact that he didn't leave the resort, get any of his money back, explain to the authorities or even the hotel what exactly happened, and tried to get some of that money back. That way he could fly back to the US, regroup, and try to figure out how to make this work. He's just letting her know, babe, we have 31, 32 days left on this visa. You got to make decisions fast. And she looks on FaceTime and she looks just so absolutely annoyed.
Yeah. She looks stressed because, again, okay, here we go again. Try another crazy idea by Andrew. And he's not doing anything. He's sitting, telling her what to do. And if Amira, this should be a wake-up call for her to say, like, this guy is really telling me to go again through the same process, even though there are no guarantees that it will work. Like, I'm sorry, but you have to learn. I think that Amira at this point needs to learn to put herself first.
Right.
And then if it works with Andrew, great. And if it doesn't, then bye. Honestly, there are many other men that could get her to the US. And not on those terms.
It's funny because Lizzie C said, didn't he expect her to go to Serbia by herself too?
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe he's expecting her to go to Serbia, quarantine for 14 days, and then that way she would be what he thinks is allowed entry into the United States. But yes, she would have to go there by herself for 14 days. And even still, you're taking a beautiful woman, putting her by herself in a country where she doesn't know anybody. And I know what people are going to comment and say, oh, well, she has the camera crew and they have filming. And I don't know if people have noticed, but the whole time she's been filming in France, she's filming on her phone and setting up different points where I'm sure production is sending her like little equipment and saying, this is how you do it, and walking her
like
through
a stabilizer or something like that to look at more pro.
Yeah, she doesn't have a full-on camera crew with her right now, and she probably wouldn't have one in Serbia. So yes, she would probably be alone. And I wouldn't even want to travel outside to a different country by myself. I'm not even that brave. So I know people do it every day. I don't know. I don't blame her if she wouldn't want to.
Yeah. Oh, can we quickly switch topic to Brandon and Julia? Because I thought it was very telling how when he was having the conversation with his parents, how he blamed everything on Julia. He oh, Julia doesn't feel comfortable here. Julia wants to leave. Julia doesn't like the animals. When he talked to Julia, he said like, no, we are going to move out. Like he's just trying to find
he's trying to find his bearings with his parents. I feel like he's never stood up to his parents in his life. I feel like he's always kind of been that doormat son who is like the yes son. The parents want him to act and do certain things. And he's like, yeah, we're a unit. I'm going to be that way. And now he's trying to find his voice. And I think Julia's really fighting for him to, what she calls, grow up and be a man.
Yeah. And honestly, that whole thing where the dad was all like freaking out and saying, no, like, sir, This is 2020. You can have to cut it off with that 1950
Yeah,
attitude.
you need to be a
That's
man. Julia, boy, go ahead, go be a man to Julia, because she'll slap him right upside the head. You see it in her. She would. I feel like she would mop the pig mess with him. He's
totally.
he's a little guy, and Julia's feisty.
I'm Team Julia, honestly. Like, she deserves better. She deserves to get out of that freaky farm. She's a nice girl. I mean, a farm life is not easy. We all know that. And she gave it a try, and it didn't work for her. And I don't understand why they are like making the whole storyline where, oh, we don't have money. Like, we have to stay with my parents because we won't have money for the wedding. I don't care about the wedding at this point. I would get married in the I don't know, like justice.
Yeah,
like,
just do it. Something that's easy, fast, and then save up money for a few years and have the dream wedding that you want. I don't understand needing to have this fairy tale wedding right away, especially when the people coming over, most 9 times out of 10, they're not paying for their own K1 visas. You know, like Mike's paying for Natalie's, Brandon's paying for Julia's, Tarik is paying for Hazel's. Like, most of the time, the party who is coming over is usually not paying for their stuff. It's usually the person who's bringing them over. We know Ryan, if he ends up making it to the U.S., is not paying for his. So just saying. With that being said, though, Andrea, God, I appreciate you joining me. I'm going to move on to the last 2 couples. And if you guys are up, then I'll bring you back on.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. All right, guys, the last 2 couples, Rebecca and Zied, and then we also have Tarik and Hazel. So Rebecca and Zied are visited by her friend who was her former boss, also a PI, private investigator, and her name is Melanie. Melanie did a background check in a previous season of Zied, showing the fact that he had never held a job on paper. Now, Zied said that he has navigated career life and his work life by making money under the table in Tunisia, but for Melanie, she feels like something's off. Almost like history has a way of repeating itself. Like there's a vicious cycle here, something that should be addressed, but Rebecca is just in love and she's not going to be the one to do so. So Melanie has firmly come in with the idea of, I will ask the tough questions and I'm going to get down to the bottom of this. While Rebecca is kind of waiting to work up the courage to tell Zied that they are living in the same apartment complex that she lived in with her ex, she was beat to the punch. Now, Melanie ends up bringing this up and saying, you're doing this again. He doesn't have a job. You're bringing somebody from a different country. You're getting married. You're all in love. He's much younger than you. Now you're coming back to the same building. And you could see his face like, same building. And Melanie was kind of looking like, you didn't know. Again, I'm putting my producer's cap on really quick because this is where I can just tell that production, before Melanie went in and got mic'd, production was like, how are you feeling? Feeling good? Yeah, you're going to go in there and we need you to have these tough conversations. And why don't you spill the whole apartment thing? I'm sure production said that because, again, I don't want to call it, I will call it. It feels like cinematic effect. Like we get this big, like, wow, what's going to happen? And then TLC can edit it into a cliffhanger. So we're excited about seeing what's to come. Rebecca immediately throws her head into Zied's shoulder saying, he's a good man. Nobody knows him like I do, and he's amazing, and he's going to be great, and this is going to work out, and stop giving him so much crap. And he's like, I'm not the same man as her ex. I come from Tunisia. I'm not from Morocco. I'm coming here with a good heart and for the right reasons, and I will prove to you guys I'm not a liar. Melanie pretty much just said, yeah, well, in due time, we will see. I'm going to keep my eyes on you, and let's see what happens. We do see a little bit of a teaser, though, coming up for the next episode. And I'm sure some of you guys have already watched it if you have Hulu, the first hour of it. But on the next episode, we see where Rebecca and Zied are sitting across from this cute girl who offers to help Zied move. Rebecca's like, are you really going to let her help you? And who knows if that was a setup on her daughter's behalf or what the case was. But we're going to have to wait and find out. And let's just end this off with probably in this case, maybe one of the least annoying couples of this season of 90 Day Fiance. Even though they're strange, they are kind of the least annoying. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love, and let's go on to Tarik and Hazel. Tarik and Hazel also have an age gap, 46 and 28. She's all the way from the Philippines, and she left one very important thing behind. Definitely wasn't her desire for women, it was her son. Coming into the States, she has some big plans, and those involve Tarik to an extent, but also involves her drive to explore who she is as a woman and how she can navigate relationships or a relationship with other women. In the Philippines, it wasn't necessarily accepted, and she said her family wouldn't have spoke to her, and they probably would have disowned her. Now, we know this. This isn't just the Philippines, the United States of America, Russia, Mexico. You can go all over the world, and you will have families constantly disowning their loved ones because they don't necessarily have the same beliefs that the parents want them to. I've been through this myself, but I'm just trying to touch this with kid gloves. Heck, I thought my parents were going to disown me, and they ended up being the best parents that I could have ever asked for. So with that being said, you just don't really know what the reaction is going to be. But for Hazel, she wants to find a girlfriend. Tarik ends up bringing Hazel into the room and going online, and now they're shopping for whoever that girl is going to be. He wants to know, do you want a Spanish woman? Do you want an Asian woman? Do you want a black woman, a white woman? Do you want a curvy woman? Do you want a skinny woman? Do you want a tall woman? Do you want a short woman? It sounds like they're shopping for desserts or something here. Like they're trying to figure out on the Grubhub app what they're having for dinner. It's very strange to me that the way that they're navigating this. But again, just because it's unconventional doesn't make it necessarily weird. It's just something that we have to learn to understand, right? He has concerns, though, and he wants to set boundaries. Tarik's letting Hazel know, one, this person, this third-party person, is not coming around my daughter. She will not know, Ari will not know about this at all, and the person will not be invited when my daughter is staying with me and not with her mother. Two, we need boundaries because we can't be a twosome who invites in a onesome, becoming one threesome, and then all of a sudden the new person falls in love with the one of the twosome, and then the original person is left to be one onesome. I know. I was bad at math, but I was good at that. That's exactly what Tarik is trying to avoid. They had another woman who was from Thailand at one point who kind of messed things up for them. He started to like her a little bit more. She liked him, and Hazel got jealous. Now, obviously, Tarik is a little cautious because he's like, could this happen again? Yes. The answer is yes, absolutely. But you're still going to do it anyways, and we're going to sit back, watch, and see how it plays out. Honestly, I can't wait to see who the new mystery girlfriend is and how this process even goes. But that's why we have Discovery Plus and TLC and 90 days. So I'm sure we'll get to see everything that happens. Guys, with that being said, keep an eye out for next week. I should be having a few people join me this week or next. Maybe Max Celeb Talk Guy. We're going to go stream on Master of Blackjack's channels. Maybe even Jolene Lunzer. We're talking to a few different people, but we just have to get our scheduling right. However, I do have a few fun hot topics coming up today that are Bravo related, so stick around. We'll see you then. And I have a lot of great interviews next week, by the way. That's what I was thinking of. I thought it was tomorrow, Tuesday, but it's next Tuesday, so that's going to be fun too. If you haven't already, hit that like button, show some love, and I'll see you guys literally in like an hour. Bye, guys.